Hello, everyone. Kyle A0Z. Welcome to the new CW Operators Roundtable. It's Monday night, and tonight we have David, W6DS, from Ham Radio Solutions, and we're going to talk about Vband, going to talk about Hotline, CW Hotline, and how to work it, a little history. But first, we're going to say hello to our cast of characters here in the the Zoom here. Hello, Vince. How are you?
Great, Kyle. Good evening, David. How are you?
Good, good, good. Evan, hello. You've been busy on
What's going on?
the old tube of you.
I have. I haven't been busy in the world of ham radio. I haven't done a lot of activations lately because the weather's been so lousy. But yeah, I've been trying to get stuff out. So
Yeah, Vince has been working on his one CW question. He just had Josh on.
I saw that.
Who else is in the pipe?
Oh,
Vince,
who else is in the pipe?
can you
Can I
give us
share?
a yeah?
Yes, I can share. Who else is coming up? Today, Golf 3 Bravo Juliet, Don Beatty,
Oh, Don, yeah.
WO6W, K1ZZ, Dave Sumner. Dave is formerly the CEO of ARRL
Yeah,
and the secretary of the IARU.
yes. Very good.
Fox 5, India Yankee Juliet. Philippe has one key for every week of the year, but he says, shh, don't tell my wife, I have 53.
Right.
He has 53 keys in his collection.
Jeez.
And K6RB, Rob Bernstein, one of the co-founders of CW Ops.
CW Ops, yep.
So that's who I've got coming up with more recordings scheduled.
Very good. Cool. Saying hello to people in the chat. I see a lot of familiar handles out there. Hello, everyone. Question of the day: what have you heard of Vband and Ham Radio Hotline? I'm sorry, CW Hotline. Have you heard of it? What do you know about it? Put it in the chat. Also, we're going to be taking questions for David as we go through the presentation here, or talk to David. So yeah, just put anything in the chat that you want. Just don't put any bad words. YouTube don't buy it. I don't mind the bad words, but YouTube don't like them. So, David, hello. How are you?
Hey, thank you, Kyle and gang, for having me on your show here
Yeah.
on your street.
So tell me. So I'm looking here at the Ham Radio Solutions website. Tell me how this thing started, and give us a little history on Ham Radio Solutions.
Sure, no problem. So basically, it started as two friends we go back quite a ways, and we play ham radio together. And that's what we do in our spare time. And we're both computer programmers. So some people out there will recognize the name and call sign when I throw it out there. But my other cohort in this operation is Buy-in, N6BG of Bionics.com fame. So he's the guy that does Tiny Track and a lot of other stuff like that. I would say check it out. That's the plug for him. But he and I were playing ham radio together years ago, starting into COVID. We started playing ham radio again together. And we started doing some FT8. And then we built some QRP FT8 rigs made by Phaser. And those are cool kits. Then we went off and built some QCX kits. And it was at the time we built the QCX kits that we went, hey, wait, we're really rusty on our CW skills, because we had passed our tests way back in the day when you had to know code to get an extra.
Right.
So you know, we hadn't done anything with it since. So needless to say, we were rusty.
Yeah.
So we started playing around with CW and saying, hey, what are we going to do? How are we going to touch on this? And we came up with, we started off just writing code to decode CW. And then we said, oh, we got to do one better than this. And we basically said, let's do a remote way to send CW over the internet.
Yeah.
And so that's really the impetus that got us going on Vband. And that was the first product that we developed in particular to code. We actually have another side of the website that I'll just name but not go into, is Network Digital Radio. So you have a way to monitor Yaesu System Fusion rooms there. And it's like a DVR. We record back up to 2 days. So you can play back QSOs. Anyhow, enough on that. So
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So we did Vband and we put it together and played around with it. And the first thing I noticed is, I said, Brian, sending with a keyboard, this isn't working for me. Now, he was sending with a keyboard and he was doing fine, but I had a different type of keyboard, and the full travel keyboard, and
Right.
It was horrible. And so thus, out of necessity, we decided, well, let's build something. Let's come up with something that we can plug into your computer that allows you to plug in a standard key. And that's where we came up with the idea for the adapter. So, and we launched, trying to think, it was probably in 2020, I want to say.
Yeah.
And we started picking up a few people, and then we started reaching out to some clubs, and in specific, the Long Island CW Club. And Howard was really excited about it, and he started involving us in some of their stuff, and we really picked up with them. They like to have their students use our stuff and use our website. And they also teach a slow traffic net class on our website. It's not visible to you as a standard user, but we provide some extra channels just for Long Island CW Club. So they can have their classes there and they can practice net traffic with more than one channel. And they'll say, go up one and pass your traffic, or go down and pass traffic. And that's the way they practice network passing, traffic passing. So it's really cool.
So how long did you and Brian mess around with this before you decided to go public with it?
It didn't take us that long. It was maybe just a couple months that we were playing around with it and decided, this could probably help out a lot of other people. And that's why we reached out to a couple people and said, what do you think of this? And, what could we do to make it better? And obviously we did make a few updates to it, and feature additions and things like that. A good example is feedback we got from Long Island CW is they wanted to have decode disabled channels. So, basically no decoder to help you learn.
Right.
You got to copy the code when you're in a Long Island CW class.
Right.
And I agree with that. It makes you learn. It makes you fill in the blanks. When you stumble copying, filling in the blanks is key to being able to just carry on a conversation.
Right.
And so at the same time, we've also got other people that they get frustrated if they don't have the decode. So we provide that as well. So
yep.
It's trying to find that balance, right?
As Evan says, you got to miss fast.
Yes.
That is the greatest piece of advice that I think I have ever gotten from.
Fail fast and often.
Fail fast and often. Miss fast.
It's true. Miss fast, and it's a hard skill to learn.
It is impossible. I mean, not as impossible, but yeah, you're right. It's a very hard, especially whenever you're learning, right?
Yeah. The other thing is to just be receptive to ideas, right? Because you come up with something and it's great, but someone else looks at it and goes, but if it only did this, it would be better for me. And you go, yeah, but why would you ever want to do that? Well, don't ask that question. Say, how does it help you get whatever you're trying to do done? What are you trying to accomplish? And so what happens is we've gotten a few suggestions that what we actually implemented wasn't what they suggested, but was collaborative with them to get that together, to get that to happen. So
tell me, has there been a struggle with, we all know that CW is very, a DIT is this long and a DA is this long, right? It's a DA is 3 times the weight of a DIT, right? And
yes.
And if you've if you know anything about computers and you know anything about the internet, we have this thing called jitter on
Yep.
the internet, and it plagues things. It doesn't plague things like whenever you're watching Netflix, but it plagues things that are time sensitive. And CW is time sensitive, right? Because you
Yes.
don't want that dit or that DOD to
you're
turn
gonna-
into a dit, right?
You're going to make me give up a trade secret.
No,
here.
I'm not. I'm not.
No,
But
no, I'm teasing. I'm teasing.
But-
It's no secret. If you look at our settings tab in the Vband, there's a latency adjustment in there. And what that latency is when you send traffic to our server immediately broadcasts it. The second it gets it, sends it to everybody else that's in that channel. But everybody that's on the receiving end doesn't start playing that audio back. They hold it for that amount of time. And all those messages have timestamp in them. So basically, if there is any jitter, we're buffering it, just like you see the little circle of death. If you're buffering and the stream goes down, that's exactly how we do it. And that's what those latency settings are for. They're not for audio latency, they're for network latency.
Yeah. And that's important to pick out, because in VBand you're not sending RF over the over the airwaves, and
Right.
you're not trying to put your signal out at a specific time, like to break a pileup or to something that's very time sensitive in the RF world, right?
Yes.
But on the internet, you can be a little bit delayed. Mine is the recommended, which is 750. I'm assuming that's milliseconds, right?
Yes.
So you can be a little bit delayed and still have a perfectly good conversation, but nobody
Correct.
will actually really know, because you're just having the conversation on the internet.
Right. And you're typically having a conversation with maybe 2, maybe 3
Yeah.
people involved in the queue. And there's a clear handoff.
Right.
It's possible to jump in, and people do. It's possible to jump in and no problem. But that jumping in is not as natural as it is on the air, because on the air it happens instantly. On our system, there's that delay, there's that lag.
Yeah.
And that's a known deficiency, but that's what we do to allow people to use V-band on anything. You can sit there on a tablet or on your mobile phone, and it works. And that's because of the way we're doing the timing and handling that. We bury retries, a traffic jam on some router somewhere. Your traffic can actually get packets can pass each other on the internet, which is really strange, and that causes a retry. We'll stumble a little bit on that, but we'll usually recover and keep the copy pretty clean when that happens.
Yeah. Very cool. I learned about VBand through the Long Island CW Club. I was taking classes, and there was, I guess it was about the time that you guys launched it. It might have been a little bit after. And Howard had sent out a post or an email and said, "Oh, this is a really cool thing. You guys need to get." Actually, he had sent out an email, and then I was on Red Summit RF stream, and I think he sent me one of the early Vince. You have yours mine's not long enough. Yeah, sent me an early one of those, and
yes.
I had to do a little solder to get my my CW key connected to it, and Red and I played around with it, and it was great. And then we started using it for the Long Island CW Club, and then well, let's talk about VBand. What exactly is VBand?
Basically, it's just we call it V-band for virtual band. It's a channelized system, so we don't have frequencies, but it's a channelized system for sending CW. So if you drop onto the website, you'll see that you're presented with a list of channels, and there's a settings tab.
Let me see if I can get this to work here. Can you guys see that? Oh, no, you can't see that. Hang on. It's like I have to learn this all over again every time that
We saw it when it initially came up.
Yeah, yeah. Hang on. It's the audience doesn't see this yet. Hang on. I gotta. You guys are watching how the sausage is made.
That's always a scary proposition.
All right. What about now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So this is if you go to hamradio.solutions. Vince put the the link there. You come down here and you've got all of the products that you guys program or have. So we're on this top one, VLAN Virtual CW Band, a place to have a virtual CW QSO, as well as practice your CW skills. So I have just clicked on that, and now I'm seeing a bunch of channels.
Correct. And so there's a practice channel, and then there's 4 channels. I'm sorry, 6 channels in the default view. Channels 5 and 6 have decode disabled. So if you pop into one of those channels, you will not see people sending to you. You will hear them, but you won't see the decode of what they've sent. Whereas if you're in channels 1 through 4, when someone sends something, we attempt to decode it.
Gotcha.
So hopefully you've got a good enough fist that our decoder works with it. We're a little bit picky when it comes down to space, though, just so that you're aware of that and people are aware of that. And then the practice channel is a place to go. And if you drop in there, it's just you. And nothing even goes to the server when you transmit in here. So if you just want to rattle off CQ and practice, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, this is your place to go and be on your own. If you drop into the settings tab, there's also something called Enable QSO Bot. If you click that tab and then go back to the practice channel, you may want to get ready to hit refresh if you kick it off. But if you send a CQ in that channel, QSO bot will respond, and you can actually have a practice QSO that follows the Long Island CW QSO format and practice there.
Yeah.
So you can have an exchange, but it's just you and Robbie the robot. And here's QSOBot coming back to you. And QSOBot sends to you at the same speed you've got it set to send. That you've set the keyer to send at.
Gotcha.
So Kyle, we're not hearing your audio, if that matters.
Oh, my audio?
Yeah, your computer audio.
Oh, my computer audio. Let's see.
Share screen with sound turned on.
Oh yeah.
That little thing. The one, while Kyle's doing that, the one thing that this service and product do really, really well, and the one thing that attracted me to it, I was looking for a computer interface so that I could plug a key in and I could see what I was sending and have it do the decoding for me and verify my spacing. And it works really, really well. Oh, we've got people in the chat saying they heard the audio, so it's just those of us locally on the Zoom call that aren't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one other thing, if you go into the settings, to your point there, click on show timing stats and then bop back over to the practice channel. Now go back over there.
Oh my gosh, look at all these cool stats.
That looks like a lot of gobbledygook. But what it really is all those numbers are in words per minute, expressed as words per minute. So your element spacing was at 20, but your inner element spacing was a little slower in some cases. And then you had a 12 character spacing you can see between that word or that letter.
I love it. I was such a stats nerd. It's awesome.
Yeah, so you can get into this and dive down deep in your sending to understand, why you may want to ask, well, why is the decoder not decoding what I'm sending? Well, you pull this up and it'll tell you right there. You can see what the decoder is seeing. Yes,
very cool. That's awesome. How far does this go back?
You can see QSOBot. It's
Is it just the screen?
Yeah,
What's on
it's
the
just the
screen?
screen width that
Okay, gotcha.
you've got there. Now we have another feature if you go to our main web page. This is something we implemented for Howard, visual morphs. And we'll take a quick detour on that. Just go ahead and type your call sign and click send.
Real good comment in the chat that timing mode is very telling when you're using a straight key. Yeah, you got
Yes.
that right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good.
So there you go.
Ah, yes.
And so now you can see and you can change the chart scale and it'll scroll in and out and zoom in and out. So you may want to get back to Vband, but that's something that we put together for Howard.
It is.
So anyhow, so you've if you drop back into the settings tab,
Okay.
we can just go through the settings really quick. So obviously you can select your keyer mode for whether you're doing a straight key or iambic A or B or ultimatic or bug. Then we've got, volume keyer, all the speeds and tone that you want. The decoded text max, people like to just max that out because that says how many characters to display before the screen wraps and what the person sent to you or what you sent scrolls off the screen.
Oh, okay.
And so by setting it max, you'll carry an entire QSO for the most part in your tabs. And then the latency, we just recommend that you leave that unchanged.
Gotcha. Okay.
Flip paddle does what you think it does. For the Australians down there, they like to flip it the other way. QSOBot we covered.
Yep.
Auto character spacing is something where it will help with your spacing. And then enabling touch pads. What that does is that will actually put touch pads on the screen when you go back into a channel, and you can use a tablet or a phone to send code. And we have a number of people that can rattle off at about 30 words per minute just tapping on their screen.
Oh, yeah. Touch for dits and touch for DAWs.
Yeah, and there are people that will rattle pretty quick code.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so yeah, no key interface. Then use mouse buttons. You can hack up a mouse and use it by wiring a mouse to its switches, its key switches to a key, and then you plug the mouse in and use it as an external input. So we have that mode. And then debug timing is just for working with us.
Gotcha.
It shows things internally in the browser. And then connect to CW Hotline is obviously something we can talk about when we get to CW Hotline.
Yeah. So I think if I come down here, I think, Vince, you're in, channel 3. So you and I are in the same channel, right?
Well, we are now.
That's correct.
And now is Ham 344. Hello, Ham 344. Are you in the chat? If you are, identify yourself.
Oh.
Oh, there's Evan.
We got a pile up.
We got, yep.
Of course, I'm sending on my phone with my fingers, so it's a little tricky.
Yeah, sure. Blame the tools. Why don't you, Evan? Hey, there's a question in the chat, Evan. Probably you're the right guy to answer that just while we're looking at this. Should one learn with a straight key before moving up to a paddle?
So that's kind of a personal preference thing. I can tell you what, at Long Island CW Club, we generally recommend people start on a straight key because there's no second level of translation involved. If you want to send an L, it's da did it, and your hand does exactly what your brain is telling it to do. With paddles, you got a second level of translation, how long you hold those paddles down, both dit and da, to get the correct amount of dits and das. And that timing changes with character speed. So for most people, we recommend they start on a straight key just to help reinforce those characters in their brain. But there's nothing that says you have to. You can definitely start on paddles. It's kind of a personal preference. I started on a straight key and graduated to paddles pretty quick. So.
David, how many people will a channel support?
That's a good question, and we've never hit the limit. It's really not limited by us.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's really a software issue, and how much can your browser, pile in there?
Right.
But yeah, we don't set a limit. We've had times where like a whole class or a student, like Boy Scouts, all build kits and get online, and you'll have 30 people going crazy.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. What has happened to my... Uh-oh, I think I might have locked up. Am I just not selected? Oh, maybe...
Yeah, and I should add that if you click on the call sign, that will take you to their QRZ link.
Oh, nice. And is that... Oh, yeah, yeah. Very cool. That's if they put their call sign in.
If they put a call sign in there and we recognize it, then we'll take you to their QRZ page.
Right, right. I love these stats.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yep.
There's 30 words a minute, or pretty close to it.
Yep. Very cool.
I wonder if he's in the stream. Is he using an adapter or is he using touchscreen? What?
Yeah, so KK7DEU, if you're in the chat, or what type of paddle are you using? And yeah, tell us a little bit about how you're connected. Oh, here we go. He's using a hotline.
There you go. Very cool. Well, thank you there, DU, for chiming in.
It's Thomas.
Sterling says, you want to find out how many we can smash on Vband, just have someone call CQ as a P5. That would break the internet, probably. Grandpa says that's Gunner. I'm not really sure I know Gunner. But
yeah.
He's one of our QRQ instructors.
Okay.
So he's fast. Like there's fast, and then there's, oh my God. If you go QRQ Maniacs is their YouTube channel. It's him and Jenna, who's another one of our instructors.
Oh,
they're obscenely fast.
Oh, hang on. QRQ Maniacs.
Go on YouTube, yep, and go QRQ Maniacs. If you want to see obscene. And these are slow for them. So this is like, that's 60 words a minute right there. That's Jenna.
Oh, okay. I know Jenna. Yes, I know Jenna.
So the next two down. So if you go two down, you'll see there was Gunner and Jenna so yeah, right there, that's them.
Are you calling or am I calling?
I'm going to be calling. So I'm going to do a series of these first.
They're doing it slapping.
That's crazy. All right, I'm gonna have to. Now I'm subscribed. I got to subscribe to that. Oh my gosh. All right.
Yeah, they're
Awesome.
longtime users of our site there.
All right. You got me hooked. um so David, you can so I noticed that that Gunner was in there through Hotline. And
Yes.
I don't know if that's a good transition. Have we talked about all the things
Sure,
about VLAN?
Yeah, I think we've covered Vband. If
Okay.
you want to go back into your settings tab and just turn off the show timing stats, that's probably too much noise for people to look at.
Yeah.
And then drop back into channel 3.
Okay.
And so what Gunner's probably doing is, I'm assuming he's using his CW hotline using the feature connect to CW hotline.
Okay. So
And so that allows him, access to channel 3 using his hotline as a keyer. And so one of the things that does is hotline with Vband, one of its drawbacks is using the adapter, is that the adapter is tied to the speed or the frame rate of what your computer can render. From the time a key gets closed to the time that you hear it come out of the speaker is somewhat dependent upon how fast your computer is and how what browser speed you're getting, and a lot of things go into it. But the short answer is you need a fairly fast computer to do higher speed with Vband and not get audio delay latency from the time you close the switch to the time you hear it come out of your PC speakers. With that said, if you're using a CW hotline, the sound comes out of the speaker on the CW hotline, and your PC does not make the sound for your local transmission. So what happens is you're able to send much faster because there's, I don't want to say zero latency, but near zero latency, because you're using a local oscillator, and then it's injecting the traffic into the V-band network that way.
yeah. So you have for CW hotline, you have all right, this is all right, hang on. Let's go back.
Okay.
So for V-band, you have your USB paddle interface that Vince showed just a minute ago, and
Yes.
that connects up to your computer through USB, and then you just plug your CW key directly into it. And whenever I got mine here, I literally just plugged in my key, and I went to Ham Radio Solutions, clicked on V-band, and I was in. Like that was it. There was no configuration.
No drivers, no nothing.
Our design behind that is we wanted to come up with something that was plug and play, and literally plug and play. And so we did a lot of research, and what we ultimately came up with is the one thing that works across all computers and operating systems for the most part is a keyboard. So our device on USB pretends it's a keyboard and tells your system that, and the two keys that it sends is control. It sends right control when you press one side of the paddle and left control when you press the other one. And so why did we choose control keys? It's because they're one of the few keys that doesn't enable some other weird operating system feature if you it doesn't enable something like sticky keys or some things that are put in there for handicapped people across all the different computers that are out there. So the control keys are safe, or the safest thing we could come out with.
Yeah.
That worked.
Gotcha.
We thought about using just right and left square brackets, because those do work if you want a keyboard send. But the thing is that we didn't want you accidentally typing into your other documents square brackets if you leaned up against your key.
Yeah.
So
I've
we didn't
done
want
that.
you polluting documents.
Right.
So that's the genesis of why we came up with using the control keys.
Gotcha. So if they want to get on VBAN, they can come here to the store, and
Yes.
for $30, $5 shipping, you can add this to your cart, pay via, looks like that's a PayPal button, and
Yep.
you'll send out one of these
Yeah.
one of these dongles here, and it's all plug and play.
Yeah. And if you're an international user, all you need to do is pull down on the shipping destination and it will change the postage and works its miracles with PayPal. PayPal.
Okay.
So
then, okay, so that is Vband. Anything else that we want to cover on Vband?
no, I think you've done a good job of covering that.
Okay. So now let's transition into CW Hotline.
Okay.
So let me tell you what I know about CW Hotline, and then you can go, Kyle, you're wrong. Here's what is really going on. So I found out, I don't know when I found out about CW Hotline, but I bought, actually, David, you probably don't remember, but I had an issue with one of the, actually, I screwed it up. This was a kit, and I put this kit together, and I put it together wrong, and you so graciously sent me another kit for a fraction of the cost, and I offered to pay for shipping and the whole kit, but you were very nice and said, no, we'll send you one for half of what, you know, we understand you screwing up a solder joints and not being able to get it back. So what I have is I have two of these. I have one here at the house, and this is backwards, I know. And this is a 3D printed case that I downloaded off of the CW Hotline website, I believe.
Yeah.
And so this is a case, or I'm sorry, the CW Hotline with the circuit board in there. And then I also have another one of these at my contest station. So this one hooks up with the CW Hotline that I have at the contest station. I know that this is only one feature of CW Hotline, but I'm able to send and hear side tone on this guy, and it gets sent over the internet to my contest station, and that's how I send CW, because on the other side, the key out of this, which is right here, I have this 1/8" jack, and it's plugged directly into the key jack in my Flex. So whenever I sit here and key on this thing, the CW Hotline down at my contest station sends exactly what I'm hearing out of this guy. And that's how I use CW Hotline.
Yes, that is I'd say one of the main features that it was designed for is to allow remote CW. One thing I should have touched on also with Vband, but it also applies to CW Hotline, is that we exactly reproduce your fist when we're sending the CW. Unlike other systems where if you type, with Flex Radio, you can also just type and it will send perfectly formed CW out. That's when you're using a CW Hotline or Vband, what you hear is what the other user gets. So if your fist is bad, it's going to be bad on the other side because we literally reproduce it. But people recognize each other's fists.
Yeah.
And we've got someone who runs a slow traffic net with ARRL, and people can't tell that he's sitting in his RV banging away with a CW Hotline connected through his hotspot on his phone, and he's running his station back home.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And that's how he does it. He can be away from his home and still be in control of his home radio and sending, and no one knows that it's not the same guy. Yeah. And there's another guy that I know, he travels a lot on business, and that's what he does. He uses a CW Hotline in his mobile and his mobile hotspot, and he can send code at home, no problem.
Yeah. So is that one of the? Does CW Hotline have other features that it has?
Yes. So one of the main features is the remote keying solution. That's just a side effect of what we originally envisioned. This was the bat phone of CW, where you can just have one of these sitting on your desk, and let's just call it, I set the link key, which is the channel name, to W6DS. Mm-hmm. So anyone who wants to get a hold of W6DS, I just tell them, set your link key to W6DS and start calling CQ. You'll get my attention.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so it's like the bat phone, and you can have as many. Again, this is like V-band. You can have as many units as you want in a channel, and it's not going to matter. So you can have 4 or 5 hotlines all on the same link key, and when you start banging code, the other 4 units are going to hear it. And likewise, if they start sending code, you're going to hear it. And it's, again, exactly reproducing their fist.
I found that out the hard way. Whenever it was Ward decided to do a contest remotely, and my hotline started to go off because he has one too, and so I was in the other room, and I'm like, who is banging out CW at like 30 words a minute? 32 33, 34 words a minute. And so then I'm like, oh, that's Ward. He's working, a bunch of people. And I don't know what he was doing, either a contest or he was just calling CQ or whatnot. And it was funny and it was great at the same time. Is I just sat in my living room and I heard him working people, and I was picking out the call signs as he was working people. And I sent him a text message, and I was just like, I was telling him who he was working, and he was like, "How do you know how I was working him?" And I was like, "Oh, I have the secret sauce. I know exactly what you're doing at all times."
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's one of the things that it was designed for,
Yeah.
is, basically having multiple units all tied in. And as crazy as it sounds, you could do key out on each one of those units and plug it into a rig, and they'd all be keying the rigs. Don't do that at home.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
But it also acts as just a keyer or a practice oscillator. You can plug a key into it and use it that way. It's obviously, you touched on the fact that it's got jacks for an external keyer paddles. It's got amplified side tone speaker, and you can also plug in an earphone, and it will key the transmitter through the other jack. The other thing is, and we didn't get into it, although Gunnar demonstrated it, was you can use this as a keying input in replacement of a V-band adapter. So it also functions as a V-band adapter, and you can go fast. In fact, I think it was either Gunnar or Jenna, I think, asked us to raise the limit on V-band from, at least for the keyer, to go faster than 50 words a minute.
Oh my gosh.
So we can probably do it. But you hit an upper limit on what the browser will let you do.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you have, you had said that you've got I don't have mine plugged in because I brought it downstairs here. Do you have like a screen that we can share to see the settings?
Yeah, let me pop in a unit.
And while you're doing that, let me do some plugs here for CW Hotline. So there's a Discord server that you can join, and I'm on the Discord server. Let me bring this over here, and let me get into CW Hotline if I can find it in all of my ham radio solutions. Here it is. So,
there's also a separate Discord server on the LICW server specifically for V-band. So if you're an LICW, we have one for V-band as well.
So what we'll do is we'll put the link in the chat here for the Discord server. So if you want to, oops, I didn't hit. Hang on.
Yeah, that works.
Yep. So if you want to join the Ham Radio Solutions Discord server, and then let's go up to the Long Island CW Club. Yeah, and there's a whole V-band channel, like Evan said. Yeah, very good. Okay. All right.
So let me try.
Yeah, let me.
Well, why don't we talk about what? Oh, never mind. Well, let me share, and we can go back to that, or I can share it from my screen.
Yeah.
So Zoom.
There was a question that came up in the chat earlier. Can the V-band adapter. Oops, I've got the name wrong. Yeah, the V-band adapter, the little keyboard dongle. Can that work with WinKeyer?
No, WinKeyer uses a different protocol. I think they use a serial port. So no, we're not compatible. We are compatible with, there's another website out there called Veil CW Morse, I think. Probably butchering his name, but it works with that website as well.
Okay.
So anyhow, here we are at the CW Hotline screen, and I've shrunk it down so hopefully it fits and looks good for folks.
Looks good.
I'm going to use the connect feature of the website, and I'm going to say connect to my CW Hotline. And once I select my port, now I get something that looks like this. If we ever release firmware updates or possibly your unit gets corrupted, if you press this button right here, I'm not going to do it. It takes about 40 seconds, but it will download new firmware onto your device and all automatically through the web.
Right. Cool.
You don't need to have any third-party programs. The settings tab is this, and just so that you guys know, Cool Dude is not a valid device key. So anyhow, you can see that this is the SSID for my home Wi-Fi, and have a password. Then you can also have an alternate SSID and password. So what we recommend that most people do is use their mobile hotspot data there, and then they can, all they got to do is turn on their phone's mobile hotspot. They're away. They turn their CW hotline on, and it'll connect to the phone and then get access to the server.
Perfect. That's awesome.
You have a device key, and then there's this thing called the link key. And this is really critical for people to understand in the settings of CW Hotline. That can be anything you want it to be. It's just text, and it's case significant. So if you want to set up a remote keying solution for your radio, I would not recommend you call it W6DS. I would recommend you call it W6DS and maybe a long series of numbers so that it's not easily guessable, because there's no password protection on it. The protection is that no one else knows what your link key is that you're using.
Yeah.
So that's where security through obscurity.
Right. So that was
min latency is, again, just like I spoke about how Vband handles latency. This is how CW Hotline hides latency as well. It doesn't start playing back to that key out jack for 200 milliseconds. And that gives it a chance to keep the turnaround time tight, right? Because you're on the radio. 200 milliseconds is a lot more significant there.
Yeah.
But it gives you a chance to absorb that jitter and not have those problems.
Yeah.
Speaker is just, you can disable the speaker. So in the case of your remote shack, maybe it's in a spare room at your dad's house, and you don't want to have your parents getting mad at you because it's beeping at 3 a.m. You can set speaker to 0, and that'll turn it off.
Okay.
Flip paddle, that if you set that to 1, it just reverses the dits and the DAWs. Iambic, 0 for iambic A, 1 for iambic B. Word per minute is exactly what you think it is, which is how many words per minute the keyer is going to run at. The local tone is 800, and remote tone is 700. So that's when you key up, you're going to hear 800 hertz. When someone else is keying up, you're going to hear 700 hertz. And you can change those fields to anything you want. The only other thing I should mention is that if you want to configure for a straight key, set the words per minute to 7.
Gotcha. So
latency is in milliseconds, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
So the device key and the link key are two very critical parameters in there. And the device key, if I can remember, the device key, you get that from you after you order your device, right?
Correct. We used to send it via email. You would get an email from me when your device shipped with your serial number and device key. Now we actually just put stickers on the units. We learn as we go, and one of the things we came up with is just put an Avery label on the inside of the inside lid of the box, and then also putting an Avery label in the box that we ship it. So you get a unit, and you'll hopefully never lose that key. If you do, you can call us up or send us an email. We'll get you. We'll replace your key. We'll send it back to you again in email. But you should always have that.
Yeah. And then the link key is if you're going to use this as a remote keyer, like I've got a link key that is the same on both sides, and as long as those two match,
that is correct.
Or if I have a link key of AA0Z all in lowercase, and that could be the bat phone where you put your link key as AA0Z, and anything that you key on your side is going to be heard on my CW hotline box, right?
That's correct.
Okay, gotcha. But then how do you? So I guess maybe the next question that I have, and maybe it's too early in the conversation, but then how do you take this box and do what Gunnar did and put it on Vband?
Okay, so I will close off this window here, and we'll go back to the main site. I'm going to go to the Vband site, and in the settings tab for Vband,
yes,
there's this button down here, connect to CW hotline.
Ah.
You connect that, you click go, and you just heard it send out VB for Vband.
Okay.
And now if you key on the CW hotline, it will go into, I think I'm on the wrong one. Oh, it helps if you plug a key into your device. And so on.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Very good.
So
neat.
And like I said, that gets you the low latency connection.
Yeah. Can you click on the store? I want to talk about the different types of CW hotline.
Yeah, I was gonna go right back there.
Yeah.
So if you go down here, so one of the things that's like a big win for us, and as you probably mentioned or noticed, Kyle, I think you were an early adopter, so you had to drill your case.
Yes.
And
yeah.
Drilling the case is not for the faint of heart. As a kit builder, that's probably the hardest thing that people struggled with building our kits was they didn't necessarily have access to good machining tools, and it made it difficult to drill.
Right.
So as of now, all of our kits ship with pre-drilled cases.
Oh, nice. Very good.
So
yeah.
we get them drilled at a factory, and they just come ready to go for you.
Perfect. Yeah, that was the hardest part was getting the LEDs and all the other stuff lined up.
Getting the template. Yeah, exactly.
But I have a 3D printer, and somebody put the CAD files, the STL files. Oh, there it is, down the and I printed this on my 3D printer, and it's perfect. Everything lines up perfectly. It's great.
Yep.
Yeah. Very cool.
And so we have two forms. We have 7 forms that you can purchase the CW hotline in right now. 4 are in a kit form, and I'll go into those details. And then we also sell assembled and tested units. So for people who don't have the wherewithal or not necessarily kit builders but still want a CW hotline, you can buy one assembled.
Got it. Very good.
And you can that's right here, and you can specify whether you want iambic paddle, straight key, or external only, or none.
Yeah, and I think
I don't know. Can you see that drop down when I do that?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Okay, because in sharing on other platforms, you don't see that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we have another format, which is the kits, and we have 2 formats of that. One is what I would call the traditional CW hotline board, where it's all through hole and you have to put all the components in. Then we also offer a mostly assembled PC board, PCB, which uses surface mount parts, and you'll find that the jacks and the headers for the CPU module are already installed. So the only thing you have to install is the compute module itself, 2 LEDs and a switch
Ah,
and a
nice.
speaker, and that's it. And then just drop it in the pre-drilled case and you're on the air.
Gotcha. Very cool.
And then again, when you order that version, the kit version, you need to specify whether it's a straight key or iambic paddles, or if you're going to build it external only, because that controls what box we ship. If you order one that's external only, it won't have a hole drilled out for the arms on the other side.
Yeah, yeah. So mine's got a hole for the USB. You can see my USB in there, but it has nothing on the other side
Correct.
for the paddles. Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
There was a question that came up about this. Can it do 50 words a minute?
Yes, it can. Actually, in straight key mode, I'd have to ask Brian, but I don't think we limit the speed at all.
All right. The QRQ maniacs are probably hitting buy it now.
Well, the QRQ Maniac, you heard one of them earlier. So
Yeah, they're both in there.
QRQ Maniac. That's now my favorite YouTube channel.
There's all sorts of crazy stuff. There's like stories in CW. There's like jokes in CW, and it's at obscene speeds. So.
Oh my gosh! Now I'm gonna lay on the couch for the rest of the night and just watch all those YouTube videos. Great. There goes my Monday night. Oh well. All right. Very good.
so anyhow, also on our webpage, if you go there, I'd encourage anyone that's interested. Our assembly manual is online, so you can read what you're getting into before you order the kit. You can see exactly what it is. You can read the user manual, find out how it's used. You can check all that out before you purchase. Before you purchase.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, I love it. I love Vband. I love CW Hotline. It is just another piece of the puzzle of learning CW. And again, some people are like, "Well, I never get on the air." You don't even need to get on the air. You can do all the stuff on Vband, and you could have conversations and QSOs and practice your CW right there, anywhere that you have an internet connection, right?
Well, the thing that's interesting is, if you go jump in a conversation and just listen, set your name or your name to RX only, so people know you're just wanting to listen in, and go listen in to QSOs. There, it's not just your RST is, antenna here is, rig is. You'll see that, but you'll also see conversations that are just rag chewing. So good old old school rag chewing, where they're just talking about what's going on in their lives and what they're up to and things like that.
Well, and I think Vince and Evan have said this multiple times is, it's one thing that you get on the air and you're doing POTA and whatnot, but your speed really increases whenever you start to rag chew, and your instant character recognition really goes through the roof whenever you start to rag chew. And I am so guilty of not doing that. I mean, I need to do that more, but again, time and dedicating the time is my biggest issue. But yeah.
Well, this is where I give you the little prod and say, well, it doesn't take a lot of time. 15, 20 minutes in the morning, 15, 20 minutes at night, and it'll make a big difference.
It does. It does.
That's where I would encourage people, that are trying to learn, go engage with, CW Ops or LICW or anyone else online that'll give you that support and a reason to be there. And I think once you spend the time in it, it finally clicks and you're good to go. It's like when I was learning CW, I just struggled at 13 words per minute. And that's because this was before instant character recognition and even Farnsworth was really kicking in. It was just, listen to a tape and it was the same tape over and over again. It was difficult to hit that 20.
Yeah.
But
so QRQ Maniacs, I've highlighted their comment there that both of us have one, and if y'all are going to buy one of these, the little USB dongle that I've got here, save yourself on shipping and buy multiples. And these are inexpensive enough that you can loan them out to friends. and y'all can practice over the internet without being on air. That's what I did.
And if you're overseas and watching this, if you're going to buy multiples, send me an email. And because what I'll do is what I normally do if someone buys multiples, it doesn't cost me that much to ship two of the V-band adapters, but the shipping is based on shipping one. So I can ship 2 or 3 for the cost of shipping one. And so I'll refund you or just quote you a price that doesn't include all that extra shipping. So, and in fact, I just had someone from Australia buy 2, and I think it'll cost me, you know, $25 or something like that to ship to them. Australia is crazy expensive to ship to.
Yeah.
But you know, I'll refund them their extra postage.
Very good. Anything else, David? We're going to try and wrap it up. We can been here for an hour.
I guess I would say, are there any questions from the group?
So while you guys are putting your questions in the chat, because I know that the stream is about 20 seconds behind everyone or us. Vince, what do you have coming up on your channel?
Tomorrow, I have a video about eliminating birdies in your shack. And I'm not talking about budgies, but I'm talking about noise elimination with X-phase shifting noise eliminators. And on Thursday, it's World Amateur Radio Day this week. That starts at 0 Zulu on Thursday and runs for 24 hours. So you will find me out on the air as Victor Echo 6 Romeo Alpha Charlie, Radio Amateurs of Canada, doing a special event. And I'll be doing that in POTA entities. I'll probably be operating for about 18 of the 24 hours. Oh, wow. And I'll grab some video, and then I'll be reposting those because people seem to like these little 13-word-a-minute videos that I've been posting. So I'll keep doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, Thursday I will be doing a POTA. We'll be down in Springfield, Missouri, down at the Moore Expo. It's an overlanding expo, but a whole bunch of us that are going. Jason, Rob, W5ITR, Frank from Tank Radio, Ham Radio Tectonics, Ham Radio Crusader, Freddie Mac. We're all going to be in Springfield, Illinois, and we're going to do a POTA together, and hopefully we can shoo away the rain because it's supposed to thunderstorm all day. So anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna be out tomorrow doing activation. I'm gonna be using Brian Swan N1BS's TR35 that he loaned me, so that'll be the first activation with that radio, and it'll also be the first activation with this key. So we'll see how this key does in the field. So that'll be tomorrow, 3:30, 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern.
Gotcha. What else you got coming up on your channel, Evan? Anything?
So I've got some activation videos scheduled. I have a whole bunch of videos in the pipeline I need to shoot. I've got to shoot a QRP head-to-head video on that TR35. I want to get a few more uses under my belt with it first. And then I've got some other little things here and there, some other key videos and things like that I'm going to shoot. So, but right now, the only things that are in the pipeline are activation videos.
Gotcha. Vince and Evan, if you just put their call signs into YouTube, you'll find their website or their YouTube channel. Go and subscribe to their channels. They are great channels for learning CW and tips and tricks. It's great. David, I'm not seeing any questions. I think you did such a good job that no one has any questions. It's amazing. Unbelievable.
Okay, very good.
Well, even if they have, thanks, Vince, for putting Evan. Go ahead and put your channel in there too.
Yep.
If they have questions about CW Hotline or Vband, where should they go? Should they go to the Discord first? Where do they go?
Well, it's whatever their personal preference is. They can go to the Discord. They can drop an email to support@hamradio.solutions, and we'll answer them whichever way they want to hear from us. So.
Okay. Very good. Well, thank you, David, for being on the show. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, you've got an amazing product, and I've used it. I use this every single day. So thank you for the service that you provide. And if you buy a kit, I'm assuming whenever you buy the kit, that part of that dollar goes to maintaining the servers and keeping
Oh, yeah.
the service free. So please go and get a kit if you're going to obviously use the service. But yeah, support Ham Radio Solutions by buying a kit and keeping the server cost free for us.
Actually, if I may have a minute more of your time, I do have one thing I should probably announce.
Sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that Brian and I have not been sitting still, and we continue to work on Vband and CW Hotline, and we're addressing some things in the near future, hopefully. No guarantee on when we'll roll it out, but some features that will tie CW Hotlines and Vband much more tightly together and allow people to create their own channels and things like that on Vband.
Oh, cool.
So just a number of things that are in the works. Stay tuned, and we'll break it early and often.
Yeah,
So
that gives
bear with
me
us if there's growing pains.
that gives me an idea on oh, here we go. Here you want to hear my far-fetched idea, and so I can get a bunch of hate mail on this one too.
I was going to say, is it going to be on the front page of QRZ?
Yeah, here we go. Here's one of my crazy ideas that now I'm going to get a bunch of hate mail. You've heard it here first, boys and girls. So you just said that, David, and so you can decode through Vband, right? We saw the decode up there, right? So
Yes.
Wouldn't it be cool if you hooked your key up to this guy, you were sending your signal up to Vband, and obviously you're keying out. So this is a mediary between your paddle and your rig. You're decoding on the web, and then you're streaming your CW, because the one thing that is a little confusing to people that don't know CW and people that stream CW contests is they don't know what they're sending, right? And sometimes it's hard to even know what you're receiving, but at least that's one side of the conversation. So if I can do a visual and bring up Vband on my own channel and then put that in my stream, you can see what I'm sending on my radio as I'm sending it.
I get what you're throwing down. No, I think that gives me something to work on, and I think that's doable.
Because one of the things that, we could get more CW operators on the web and streaming their operations, but a lot of times, people look at and they come past, or they get on the that YouTube channel and they stream and they're like, I don't know what they're sending, and they're not doing any commentary. And it's very hard to, especially me, it's very hard to talk while I'm sending CW. It'd be great if I could do, SST, and I could actually show what I'm sending, and then maybe I could get another decoder that I'm decoding what is coming across the screen. Right?
Let me talk with Brian. I think with what we're working on, we might be able to do something like that. And just as a heads up, so people understand, we have a debug mode for CW Hotline where if you only have one CW hotline, how do you test it that it's working? Well, we have a CW hotline that literally sits here, and its key out is plugged into a Vband adapter, which sits in a special channel called CW Hotline. So when you are remote keying, our way of bridging right now CW Hotline to Vband is to just plug the output of the CW Hotline into a Vband adapter and park it on that channel. But we're working on things, obviously, that will, for one example, just in your CW hotline, put in the name of the channel and you'll join it.
Yeah.
So you can remote operate. Yeah. So that's what we're working on, something like that.
Gotcha.
So more features in the pipeline. Give us some time to work it out, and no promises, but we're going to try. We're going to push hard. So
yeah, very good. All right, send all your hate mail to Vince this time.
Yeah. My email address is Kyle_AA0Z at.
You wouldn't believe all the hate mail that I got over the last 2
weeks. David,
when I saw that on the front page of QRZ, I knew it was going to be a disaster. And when I clicked it and started reading, and it was only like 5 pages long at that point, I was like, oh. this is a disaster. Now it's like 27 pages long, and it
Yeah.
keeps going. It's amazing.
I hope that I have the record of, or not, that W1ED's got the record for the most posts on QRZ.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So anyway,
Allow me to echo what Grant Bob is saying. David, to yourself and Bayan, thank you for bringing this product out. Thank you for making it available. It's a wonderful learning tool for those who are learning on their own, who don't have a code buddy. One of the other tips in the 1CW questions series. It's great fun to play with.
yeah,
Thank you.
I agree.
Okay. No, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
David. All right, that's it. Thanks, everyone. We will be back here in 2 weeks to talk about more CW. There's a big, huge fly in here. More CW topics. Not sure what we're going to have in store, but typically we have a guest and then we have a topic. So I think next week or that in 2 weeks we'll have just a general topic that we'll talk about. So join us next in 2 weeks on Monday for more CW Ops Roundtable. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thanks, everybody.